Hey guys, hope you're well. Have a quick but important court update, or really almost a court report, because I was able to essentially show up to court without actually showing up to court. But I was able to get all the information because luckily I got zoomed in. And so this might be an actual good answer for a lot of future hearings, for not having to spend the money to go all the way out to LA. Certainly for anything Mindy involved, I will be able to at least hear everything virtually, so that was a huge help. So even though I was not in the city of Los Angeles, I essentially was, because this is the first time that I'm able to relay info that only I could get, because obviously the court hearing wasn't public, that only I could have gotten, but without actually having to show up. So thank God that is a solution, and probably a very good solution I'll take advantage of. What happened today wasn't much, but it does show a diminishing of progress and momentum for ZDT, and will also, I think, portray a different outlook that the judge will have on him based on these actions. The big issue that happened yesterday in the battle of Mindy trying to get her restraining order against ZDT, Zero Dark Tony, was the issue of the myriad of very smart and useful subpoenas. This would be a subpoena to get all of your Reddit posts, your YouTube posts, full access to your Google account, and this would be for a number of people. This would be for me. This would be for Hero Like Cody. This would be for Klee. This would be for Johnny Bravo, as well as Streets LA. So quite a cadre of people that really don't have anything to do with Mindy and don't really have anything to do with Mindy's case, but grasping at straws. ZDT obviously wants to try to harass people, and he feels like we'll all get scared and stop posting and stop talking about ZDT and apologize and back down. But I don't see Johnny Bravo not posting. I don't see Klee not continuing her advocacy, and she's been a key source of information for a lot of things ZDT. I don't see Streets LA shutting up or being scared anytime soon whatsoever. And even though he got his YouTube taken down, I don't see Hero Like Cody stopping anytime soon. And of course, I am not going to stop anytime soon. So that was the big effort. That was the big issue. Tamer didn't even have an explanation as to why these subpoenas should happen. He essentially said, they're all part of this. They've all been harassing my client. The judge didn't buy it, and the judge called what ZDT was doing a fishing expedition. I should know that in this situation, everything was via Zoom, so there wasn't even an in-person thing. And Tamer apparently got tied up. He was in Greece, so somebody at his office had to step up for him. And if you're curious about the name, it's Marianne Borselli. Marianne Borselle. Marianne Borselli. But the judge called it a fishing expedition, and she also did remark that this was sort of an intent to harass. That these people had really nothing to do with the case in hand. And it's not a good look, because then the judge sees you as somebody who is frivolously tying up the court, adding all these emotions, putting more work and more time that the judge has to deal with. And that's not something a judge likes. The thing that a judge hates most is you trying to bring up things that have absolutely nothing to do with the case, which is exactly what ZDT did. So the judge called this a fishing expedition, said this was an intent to harass other people that have nothing to do with this case. There was some argument in a civil case. Can you do that? That isn't even really spelled out. Can you even subpoena people? Because it's an unusual situation. It's not a criminal situation. It's not a criminal investigation. So why would you even subpoena people? You know, if it's just talking about a restraining order, then really the information is between you and that other person. It doesn't make sense. Borselli did try to talk about some case law, saying it happened before, and the judge did remark, well, there's nothing spelled out saying you cannot do it, but usually you don't do it. And she did say to the attorney, yes, you're right, you found this information, and you can technically do it, but me granting these subpoenas for the reasons that you give is totally not legitimate. So that was kind of a Hail Mary situation, and the judge ruled against all of the subpoenas. So if anybody is wondering if they'll get subpoenaed, the answer is no, no, no. I think no to 5 people that were listed, including myself, that is officially done and gone. On November, there was also an attempt by Merritt McKeon to even get the attorney fees paid back, the attorney fees resubmitted. That the judge did not rule on one way or the other, and said she would rule on that November 20th. That's an encouraging sign for Mindy, too, because if the judge didn't feel like attorney fees were necessarily owed, she could have very well ruled right then and there that, they did have a reason to bring this up. He shouldn't have to pay for all of your fees. But the fact that the judge could have not heard that request, the fact that the judge officially validated and said she would hear that request is a very bad sign for ZDT. Because, again, with attorney fees and a lot of those issues, the judge could simply say, no, we're not even going to have a hearing on that. So the fact that she did means that Tony is yet again in deep doo-doo, which is unsurprising. So on November 20th, when Mindy has her RO battle, there's no conversation about the specifics of the RO or anybody's defense or anything like this. That it was just a quick 5-minute, what are we going to do about these subpoenas, which were not successful. So the real kit and caboodle, the real battle will be November 20th. But that's the news. Yet again, another failure by ZDT. Not surprising. He keeps thinking that all these people who feel the need to highlight his misdeeds are all of a sudden going to wither away and be scared and stop their actions. But au contraire, and hey, I thank him for giving me good material to talk about. I appreciate that. But I don't think any of us are backing down or going to compromise ourselves in any way. So A for effort on ZDT's situation in that regard. And, I think I said to you guys at the end of October, I'd fly into LA for ZDT's criminal hearing. I'm leaning against it because I don't, I'm not going to, it's okay I think it's okay to ask for money, like once you're actually there, but I don't want to ask for money to get there, and I just don't have the money this time around. So unfortunately, I'm not going to go to London, much regret that. I really couldn't pay for it. And I think even going to California is going to be very tough to pay for. So I think I'm probably 80% likely to skip it, but I still might show up. I don't know. I did buy a one-way, but I haven't bought the other ticket back. But I do apologize if I don't go, but it's also in the middle of election season. I've been getting some good momentum covering the mayoral election. So to have to take a crazy flight across the country, to me, it doesn't seem worth it. And I don't think I'm financially capable of doing it, regrettably. So I do express my laments, and I know I said I'd go to that, and now I'm less likely to do that. So my apologies. Once ZDT has a full trial, I will go to that because, again, at the end of October, he'll have his bail violation hearing, and he might end up in jail then and there, which maybe I will go, because now I'm leaning towards going, because that could be a big deal, but then it's all a risk, right? But then if it doesn't happen, then you fly all the way out there for absolutely no reason, and that's not something I want to do. But I don't want to, beg for money and do it's not necessary. And I'm hoping with the Norris situation, she has the same attorney that I could probably zoom in for the Nora ZDT RO, which then I really wouldn't have to go to LA. So I'm hoping that's the case. But I'll do a lot of mayoral election stuff. Hopefully I will have a rundown of Norris thing. Maybe I will go. I don't know. If you really want me to go, put it in the comments. But then other than that, once ZDT finally has a trial, I will be there for that. Once DOA finally has a trial, I will be there for that. That's probably not until the winter, because I like to leave the Northeast once it gets cold. So I'm going to cover the Aaron Spencer trial in Arkansas. And then I think I was going to cover the primary out in Texas. So once I'm there, and that's probably like February, March, my assumption is ZDT won't have his actual trial until April would be my guess. So I think I'd probably just drive and stay stationed in LA after all that. And then I'll be there a lot more for the Scientology stuff. So hopefully you can bear with me. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the rundown. And I will be there, even if I'm not physically there. I will be here to give you a rundown as to what happens. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye, guys.